The 6-star Morpeko raid does have some notable challenges, though once you figure out those challenges, it's actually pretty easy to take out. The 3 things it does that can make this raid tricky if you go in blind are the fact that it has both Thunderwave and Torment in its moveset. The other thing it does that makes things challenging is it uses Taunt 2 times on a random Pokemon. So on turn 0 at 100% time, it's going to use Taunt on a random Pokemon, and then it's going to repeat the action at 75% HP. The main weaknesses that this Pokemon has that we are going to exploit are the fact that it does not clean itself the entire raid, and the fact that it only has 1 player cleanse, that's 25% HP. So buffing yourself and debuffing the raid Pokemon Morpeko are both viable options. These are the 3 builds that we're going to be using to take out the 6-star Morpeko. Now all of them have their unique ways of dealing with all the challenges that Morpeko presents. The first thing Morpeko is going to do that can make things very difficult is use Thunderwave. All 3 of these Pokemon have typings that allow them to avoid being paralyzed by Thunderwave. I'll talk more about how to deal with Taunt when we talk about the individual builds. You'll notice all of these Pokemon have at least 2 damaging moves. That is how we're going to deal with Torment. We're simply going to alternate between a draining move and another useful move just to make sure we are not struggling. 2 out of 3 of these builds are going to be taking advantage of the fact that Morpeko is not going to clean itself for the entire raid, and then Iron Hands is going to take advantage of the fact that Morpeko only cleans you once in the raid, since it can't lower Morpeko's stats. First of all, do not use Toedscruel against Steel types. Steel types are immune to Acid Spray, which is going to be the main damage booster for us in this raid. That said, Toedscruel will work against every other type in spite of their resistance to Giga Drain, and even if they resist Giga Drain, you are not going to replace Giga Drain with Earth Power before the shield goes up, because you're still going to be getting more healing from Giga Drain even if it is resisted. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be using Lunge on the first turn, then you're going to be using Acid Spray. This is going to double the amount of damage and therefore the amount of healing that you're going to get. So it's really important we get that Acid Spray off. Then we're going to Giga Drain just to give us a couple more turns without dying. Then we're going to Lunge and then Giga Drain. Once Toedscruel is at -2 attack, you're going to start alternating between Giga Drain and Acid Spray instead. The next thing that we need to talk about is the timing of our terastallization. The only way that we can lose this raid is if we faint while we are terastallized. So in order to make sure that we don't do that, we are going to terastallize only after Morpeko is at -2 defense, and we are also only going to terastallize when we are about to use Giga Drain or Earth Power. This is going to give us a less than 1% chance of fainting while we're terastallized, which therefore gives us a less than 1% chance of losing this raid. After we terastallize, we are simply going to continue alternating between Acid Spray and Giga Drain until it's at -6, and then we're going to alternate between Giga Drain and Lunge for the rest of the raid. Another option is you could alternate between Giga Drain and Earth Power. In this raid, the optimum strat would have been to do just that, but in the interest of showing how good this build is in this particular raid, I went ahead and avoided using Earth Power for the entire raid just to show that this will work in spite of resisted damage. If I can avoid putting one of the 4 horsemen in one of these raid guides, I do, right? Bellibolt, Annihilate, Iron Hands, and Gholdengo are my 4 horsemen of the best solo builds, but it keeps ending up in these for a reason. So we get to ignore Taunt because every move, Parabolic Charge and Acid Spray, that we're going to be using is a damaging move. The turn order is very simple. We are simply going to alternate between Acid Spray and Parabolic Charge for 4 turns, then we're going to terastallize, and then we are going to continue alternating Acid Spray and Parabolic Charge until we win. Now, this Bellibolt is going to be holding the Big Root because we are going to be tormented and Metronome's not going to do anything for us. Real quick before I go to the next build, I'm just going to mention that Bellibolt won this raid with resisted damage with half of the timer still up. Speaking of the 4th horseman of the best solo builds, Iron Hands makes its first appearance in my videos, but Iron Hands is going to have a very simple turn order. It tanks everything Morpeko does so well that it doesn't really have to worry about health. I have indeed been crit in the initial setup, and there's still plenty of HP remaining to get the belly drum off. But anyways, we're going to use Focus Energy turn 1. That Focus Energy is going to stick with us the entire raid, even after we get cleansed. Then we're going to belly drum on turn 2. After that, we're just going to alternate between Drain Punch and Force Bomb until we can Terastallize or Morpeko cleans us. We can Terastallize ASAP in this raid. When Morpeko cleans you, we are going to use Belly Drum. Again, that's going to happen at 25% HP, but there is a significant chance that you're going to bust right through that and not even have to use that Belly Drum. But anyways, it's really that simple. Just maintain your +6 attack and alternate between Drain Punch and Force Palm until you win. We are alternating between Drain Punch and Force Palm just because of the Torment. One last thing about Iron Hands, there is a chance you're going to get taunted either at turn 0 or at 75% HP. If you do, it's not a big deal. Just go ahead and alternate between Drain Punch and Force Palm until the taunt wears off, and then continue with the turn order. Smash that like button and subscribe.